What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to DSM Pre-Game Live. Eagles Niners Wildcard round at the link, 4:30 today. Get ready for the game here with us. I'm one of your host, Dylan Davis. To my right, my faithful co-host, Scotty, and we are live, as always, on the DSM Twitter page. You can find us at DSM_media there. Make sure to follow us. It's where we're most interactive across all social media platforms. But if you want to be interactive throughout today's show or any of our live streams, like you can see pulled up here on the screen, make sure to check out the link tree in our bio over on Twitter. It'll take you directly to the DSM Philly YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe. We're coming up on number 200, continuing slow grind, slow growth. But help us continue to grow the channel and the community here. We're going to get into our keys to victory. We're going to get into our best bets, our game predictions, and see if the Eagles or Niners will be advancing. We got Terry already in the chat, ready for Brock Purdy and their Niners today. My man, happy Sunday. Hope your weekend's been going good. And what is going on?
Yes, sir. My bad. I was just getting it shared out there. But no, I'm having a great weekend as well. Started the weekend, the NFL playoffs. I mean, those two games yesterday were pretty electric, I would say. Surprisingly, the first game, right? I think we all could expect that a division rival game between the NFC North rivals, the Bears and the Packers, we could expect that to be a great game. But that Panthers and Rams game was surprisingly great. The Panthers really, really showed up and showed out. And they tried their best to get a W against that tough Super Bowl contending Rams team, right? Rams tried their best to give it away as well, right? Maybe Stafford a little banged up, but no, it was a great day of football, and obviously we got the Birds today, so I'm feeling pretty electric today. Yeah, I got some energy.
You watch those two games play out, man, because I think you and I are heading into this matchup fairly confidently, right? And that can come with some wariness as a fan. Absolutely. Like, well, why do I feel so confident heading into this one? When you watch the way those two games played out, especially the first one where, you had Carolina 10.5, 11-point underdogs at home there, does that give you a little bit of concern here for the Eagles today? Or, like, is this the favorites day? Is this the the get right type of day where yesterday some crazy things happen, a big comeback happens in the second game, but this is where the dominant team or the better team dominates today? How are we feeling as we head into 4:30?
That's an interesting question because I look at the other two games today and I don't know. Like I know 1 p.m. game, that one is fairly
it's like a 1.5. Yeah,
it's fairly even, right? Or I guess you could give the favor to Buffalo in a sense. And then on the other one, you have the Chargers and the Patriots. I think the Patriots are favored by 3 or 4 points or so. You got some technical, but we have the largest spread, right? We are the true favorite of the day. So I won't go that far to say the favorite. It's the favorites day. But I do think it was good for us to see it yesterday, but more importantly for the Eagles to see that yesterday and understand that doesn't matter who your opponent is. They can come in. They can play very well. It's postseason. It's win or go home. And if they come out and play their best ball, you can lose on that day. So seeing that with the Panthers, and then on the other game, I think you see with the Packers' perspective, something that we've witnessed earlier on in this season is blowing leads.
Yeah.
So there's no point in this game today where the Eagles are up 2 possessions and the game's over.
Nah.
No, you need to play until that final whistle because you saw the Packers get
not even just that game. What was that fourth quarter? 25-6 in Chicago's favor last night.
Crazy.
But in the first game, you mentioned that the Panthers having Stafford and the Rams on their heels. The way that game started, man, by the middle of the second quarter, I was like, oh, here we go. Panthers come out on the opening drive, attempt to go for it on their own side of the field on 4th down, get stuffed. Too easy. Stafford and Nakua go right down 7-0. A punt goes off the punt returner's face mask and they score.
Could go wrong.
Like they were just getting in their own way. You're like, man, this is going to be ugly. And the next thing you know, it's 20-17 with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and you're like, oh, we might have a game. So yeah, there is no in a win or go home situation. To Mrs. Scotty's point here, there is no comfort in it, right? There is no comfort until that final whistle goes off and the Eagles have the higher number on the scoreboard. So I went to bed and it was 21-3. Scotty fell asleep for a little bit as well in the third quarter.
Yeah.
One of my buddies was texting me, like, I think in the early on in the first half, was like, this game's putting me to sleep. It changed real quick. So if you are like Scotty, you are like Martian fell asleep, you missed a classic towards the end. But let's get into this one, man. Obviously, vibes are high. Eagles opened at 3.5-point favorites against the Niners. It jumped. It exploded all the way to 6.5. I believe it's around 5.5 or 6 now. Trent Williams, you said to me before the show started, when we went live, it does look like he is going to give it a go in this one. So that's big news for the 49ers. Eagles on the other side of things haven't really like seen anything this morning, but by all accounts, everyone would be shocked if Lane Johnson is not dressed and suited to go in this one. So Eagles getting healthy, Niners getting healthier. Where do you want to start when it comes to this game? Obviously, all eyes go to Kevin Patullo in this offense. That's the low-hanging fruit here. Is that where we want to start, or do we want to start somewhere else?
No, I was just confirming Trent Williams is in, so that I just looked on Twitter just to confirm that. But no, let's start with the offense. Let's start with the offense. Let's start with the meat of the situation, right? Because I think that's where the concerns come today, right? Going into this game, it's not the defense that has struggled of late; it's the offense. And that's the one where you look on the other side. What is the 49ers' biggest weakness? It's their defense. So that's something that needs exploited today. So let's start there, man. I think we got some meat there.
We do, and San Francisco comes into today as the 25th ranked pass defense. I believe they're top 11 or 12 against the run. And that's kind of what we're, I guess, waiting to see, right? We're waiting to find out how do the Eagles attempt to attack San Francisco's back end today. If you had to give me I know not a standout start, but if you had to give me what you would game plan for, right? Would you just knock over your entire microphone?
I realized my mic was all the way over.
I didn't even notice the entire time.
Out. That was my bad if nobody could fucking hear me
the entire time. But when it comes to this Eagles pass offense, man, what do you need to see today? Forget what we think we're going to get, what we don't believe we're going to get, because it's Patullo and Sirianni. How would you attack San Francisco's pass defense if you were the Eagles?
Yeah, man. So it's a great question to start here. One thing that I'm looking at today, I am, of course, looking at the outside with Smitty and AJ. I'm thinking about how they can get involved, of course. But when you really look in at the San Francisco defense, where they struggle is against tight ends. And something we've had success with, especially in the red zone, is Dallas Goedert. The big thing with the San Francisco 49ers defense, from what I was reading, from what I was looking up about them, Robert Saleh, they got a game plan. It's a bend but don't break type of defense, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to give up a lot of yards in between the 20s, and then they're going to try to lock down once you get into that red zone. But when you look at the Eagles, what has been their strong suit all season? It's been red zone scoring. It hasn't necessarily been consistent offense, but when they get in the red zone, they tend to score. So I am looking at that, but more specifically, you look at Goddard this season. He has 11 TDs. San Francisco's allowed 10 touchdowns to tight ends this season, and they're 24th in receptions, the amount of receptions that they get to the tight ends as well. So bottom 10 of the league, right? So I'm looking for Dallas Goedert. The Eagles have been good at getting him involved at least, and I do think they'll have some success there today.
And if there was anywhere on the field or any player that seemingly they get creative with, it is Dallas Goedert in the red zone, inside the 10, inside the 5. We've seen multiple touchdowns this year where they kind of get your eyes going one way and Jalen throws a little underhand pitch to Goddard as he's, behind the center and he gets in. Or we've seen those routes, those kind of rub routes where he leaks out to the flat and Jalen gets them there. Yeah, man, I like it. If they are going to get creative, it's obviously one way to go. The question is going to be, how often does Jalen throw the ball over the middle of the field? And is that where you're trying to exploit San Fran? No Fred Warner, their other linebacker, tore his groin last week. I'm attacking the middle of the field, and I know we're focusing on Goddard, man, but for Christ's sake, Kevin Patullo, AJ Brown's allowed to run a slant, man.
Yeah,
it's allowed. It is allowed. Yeah, I'm looking for Jalen to kind of attack in between the hash marks today, and see if they can exploit that San Fran defense in that area.
Yeah. I think Jalen should have his way through the air today. That's something he tends to do well anyways. Whenever defense are giving you something, you take what the defense is giving you, and I think that's exactly what the Eagles offense needs to do today. It may sound like I'm saying like simplify it or something like that. I'm not saying that. I do want us to remain versatile. I want to remain unpredictable today on offense, right? Which is something the Eagles have struggled with this year. So I'm with you though. I think you
understatement of the fucking year.
Definitely get AJ and Smitty involved in the game as well. It's not just the Goddard show. I think you can get everybody involved in this one.
The run game, man. What are we expecting out of Saquon today? Or is this a day where Saquon's hands get used a little bit more out of the backfield and they try to get him the ball quickly out in space, more so than just trying to line up and run the ball line versus line, even though that's an area the Eagles should win today?
Yeah, I think you, once again, you just got to remain balanced for sure, remain unpredictable with it. I think you saw San Fran against Seattle on that big showdown for the NFC West.
Right. Charbonnet run. Kenneth Walker running all over.
Kenneth Walker too, right? He was getting yards too, big gains. And what is Saquon good at? He's explosive. He's good at getting big yardage plays. And I think that's something that he's going to have the opportunity to do today. Look, there's no reason that this San Fran defensive unit should stop the Eagles. I talked to you off the air. I talked to you before the show, Dylan. The only thing that can stop this Eagles offense today is Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni. It's the only thing, because it's San Fran defense, no disrespect to Terry. They're beat up to hell and back. You got the linebackers outright, Fred Warner, but then D. Winters is supposed to be their second best coverage linebacker. He's also beat up. He's most likely going to be out today. You don't have – well, I'm not going to go to the offensive side of things just yet, but obviously they lost Bosa earlier this year, and from what I was seeing, man, what I was reading, 49ers, 31st in the NFL in defensive success rate since Bosa tore his ACL in week 3. The second worst in the NFL.
Yes.
I mean, come on, man. It is a bit ridiculous. The other thing I was looking up well, look, no, go ahead. My bad. I don't want to switch.
No, go ahead.
Are you done with the offense? I just didn't want to move on.
The only reason I'm ready to move on from the offense, man, is because there just is simply too much not unknown. Like, it's too much known. And what we kind of know and believe at this point is we're probably going to be ripping our hair out at least for 2.5 quarters today. It might start pretty, it might end pretty, but at some point or another, there will be boos at Lincoln Financial Field. I can see it and hear them now because Kevin Patullo is doing Kevin Patullo type of things. So I can sit here all I want and say, use the middle of the field, get AJ, over the middle of the field with slants, run Saquon and Tank this way. Say it
all season. Yeah. Well, I'll throw this one to you, man. This is one thing that I think can change today, will change today, and that's Jalen Hurts' usage, right? And the usage of his legs, specifically putting his body on the line. I think you're in the playoffs now. It's win or go home. He's going to do what it takes to get yards, to get first downs today, to get in the end zone today. I think Jalen Hurts is going to be the true dual threat that we know him to be today. And I think that can be the difference from the regular season, because we just weren't running him much at all, especially for, set up runs. But even himself, he wasn't running, in scramble opportunities really either.
Yeah.
So I think we see a change in that today, and maybe Jalen Hurts calling his own number today a little bit as well. So
I think he's going to have to at some point, man. But no, I saw a stat the other day. I wish I would have bookmarked it. I don't know why I didn't, but it was Jalen's rushing numbers and rushing attempt numbers specifically in postseason games. Yeah. And what happens when I believe it's like 7 or 8+ carries. The Eagles just don't lose playoff games when he does that. And the 2 games that he didn't do that were the 2 ugly losses against Tampa Bay in his rookie season and then back in 2023 in the collapse. So Jalen being a dual threat, which opens up the rest of the run game. It opens up the pass game on the flat. It does a lot of things. It's incredibly important. The last thing I know, I said I don't have too much to say about the offense. Yeah. We just are so frustrated with it at this point. It is matchup-wise, the best outcome that week 18 created for us. Because like you mentioned, we talked about the injuries at length. We talked about them, over the course of this week on the Faithful Fanatic show, but it's not just that, man. You mentioned the rushing attack, the rushing defense, and what Seattle was able to do last week. And basically a playoff game to them. They're like 11th against the run, I believe, or 12th against the run. They're worse against the pass. Not only that, they can't generate a pass rush. They excel. What I'm trying to say is they're beat to hell and they excel at nothing defensively. Yeah. The Eagles, to get into a rhythm, to D-Rab's point, it would be the funniest thing ever for the Eagles offense to come out today when the heat really gets going and they look completely different. And then tomorrow morning across all networks, you're going to hear about, oh my God, the Eagles are going back to back.
Hey, and I'll throw you one more thing that could lend towards believing that. And you mentioned it earlier. It's Lane Johnson returning back at right tackle. Obviously, Fred Johnson he wasn't horrible. He wasn't bad by any means. He was actually very refreshing compared to some of the other offensive line. But I do think there's a level of confidence that comes back around everywhere on that offense when you see that bald motherfucker stepping back in at right tackle, bro. Just like Trent Williams on the other side, Lane Johnson, and I would say even more, but that's to be argued another day. Very important. Just in the confidence, like Jalen Hurts knowing, he can have his back to that. Not that he would. Yeah. He's not left-handed, but you know what I mean. Just having the confidence that your all-pro right tackle is out there. You don't have to worry. Same thing with Saquon in the run game.
Has Lane being out, has that been like the most understated storyline almost in football? Like this was a guy that over the last 4 years in all of Jalen Hurts' career so far, this was a guy in Lane Johnson. When he wasn't on the field, the Eagles didn't win games. Lane didn't just miss a week or two at the end of the season. Right. Lane Johnson hasn't played football since what? No, the beginning of November? The middle of
it's been probably a while. It's been quite a while, yeah.
Like you just mentioned, there's all this hoopla about, Trent Williams can't go for the Niners, how big of a deal that is. They've been without their Trent Williams. They've been without the best right tackle, a top 2 right tackle in all of the National Football League for months.
Yeah.
And you add that piece back. It's a humongous deal that hasn't really been talked about a lot in terms of we kind of just zoomed past it. It's all right, well, Fred Johnson's in. And then for the last couple of weeks, you don't even leading into each game. It's not oh, well, we're without Lane. What's that pass rush going to look like without Lane?
Maybe it impacts play. You know what I mean? I'm trying to find reasons for the play calling to be the way it is. Maybe it impacts the confidence when you're calling plays. I don't know. Let's fix it today with Lane back. And I did look on X just because I saw Martian ask. It is confirmed that he is going to be back according to
humongous.
Yeah, it's huge. That's huge for the offense, man. Once again, just for confidence. Maybe it boosts Cam Jurgens and the way he feels, next to the guy next to him.
You're right.
I don't know. I want this offense to turn the fuck up today. There's no more excuses today. There's no more excuses.
Not at all. Not at all. We're gonna find out in a couple hours, man. We're gonna find out in a couple of hours. Defensively, right? Now, here's where it gets fun because that you could say, in a sense, even though we have all the talent in the world on paper offensively, what we just discussed for 15 minutes was bad versus bad, right? Bad Eagles offense versus bad Niners defense. This is good on good. This is the most dominant parts of each team meeting up and clashing with one another. And that is obviously Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle led, going up against 2 first-team All-Pros, Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, which shout out to Howie Roseman for those 2 draft picks, and shout out to those 2 over the last 2 years, have just completely changed, A, the Eagles' defense, and just B, the cornerback room in this city that I can't remember the last time it was good. Not just great, good, right?
First-team All-Pros, 2 in one.
I remember when we first brought over Darius Slay, and I was like, holy shit, we actually have a good cornerback, and that was it. Then it fell off after that. But with that said, this is where again the injuries will catch up with Terry's Niners just a bit. Christian McCaffrey, dog. George Kittle, dog. Can wreck a game. this isn't the 2023 San Francisco 49ers coming in here with Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Jawan Jennings in the slot, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey.
Right.
This is Jawan Jennings, wide receiver 1. This is Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver 2, who's also injured and beat up.
If he plays, right?
If he plays. This is not the same San Francisco team. Now, to Shanahan's credit, he's put together a hell of a season with this crew. This crew's been intact all year. It's not like they just started missing these guys. But my point is, you're not in a winner-go-home scenario in October. Right. You're not at the link. You're not going up against Vic Fangio, who, by the way, Kyle Shanahan does not have good success or a good track record against in their careers facing off against each other. To me, I think the Eagles' defense, man, please don't make me eat my words against Christian McCaffrey, but I feel like they thrive today. I feel like they turned Purdy over once or twice. I saw, a Zach Bond prediction for a fumble up in the comments earlier. Saw BG getting active today. I think this defensive front feast a little bit today. They'll get hit with an explosive run from CMC here or there. Kittle will make it, an 18-yard catch at one point. But all in all, you mentioned like tightening up in the red zone. I just don't see Shanahan's offense coming in here and dropping 26, 27 points against this Eagles defense today.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, man. I was actually looking this up because I did find it amazing that the 49ers came up with 12 wins this season, only 5 losses. And then while I was looking it up, I did find an interesting stat, right? When you look at the Niners' 5 losses, 4 of them come against teams ranking 7th or higher in defensive efficiency. The Eagles rank 6th in defensive efficiency. The Eagles rank number 4 in the NFL in defensive success rate since week 7. So, like, all of these statistics point to how good the Eagles are, right? And it does show that the 49ers can and will struggle against a great defense, just like they did last week with the NFC West on the line. They scored a total of 3 points. So, I do want the Eagles defense to come out ready to go, just like they have been for the latter half of this season. And to your point, I do expect them, man. You have to be focused on CMC, right? And it's not even necessarily the runs. It's him in the pass game. It's him all over. They use him in all different ways. You mentioned George Kittle, but they don't have the firepower. You do have Trent Williams beat up. You got to take advantage of that. Jalen Phillips has been a monster since he joined this team, along with everybody else, right? Jalix Hunt gets in on the quarterback. He makes turnovers happen. And then the other thing that I was reading up, man, on Brock Purdy, and this was another interesting thing that I was looking at. He tends to he's thrown 9 of his 10 interceptions, to end breaking routes, which apparently the Eagles do cover very well defensively. So we got to turn him over. We got to get the pressure on him. We know that he has turnovers in him. We know that he can scramble and make plays as well. We need to be ready for that as well, man. But I do expect Vic Fangio to come out with a monster game plan today, mostly to contain CMC first. And then the goal is to make Brock Purdy beat you. But to be fair to Brock Purdy, he's shown that he's able to do that on a decent basis, right? Yeah. So you got to go out here. You got to play your best ball. But, yeah, man, I'm very confident in this Eagles defense, even if the offense does want to come out and, play like they've played all season. I do have a superior amount of confidence in that defense.
Here's where, Eagles must key in on Christian McCaffrey, but here's where it becomes even more important and more relevant, right? To me, man, if this turns into a successful running day for the 49ers and that clock continues to move, it's like a slow-paced college basketball game where they shrink down the game and they shrink down the number of possessions, right? To me, that does not favor the Eagles, given the Eagles' offensive issues all year long.
That's fair. Yeah.
The longer that clock keeps moving for San Francisco's side of the ball and the less possessions, the less chances this Eagles offense has to put something together, the worse off it's going to be, man. So
Yeah, I agree.
if they're able, like, you take care of the ball, you chew up, you win a time of possession battle. Those are normally things that go into winning a playoff game regardless, but it's even more relevant given the Eagles' offensive status, because let's say on any given, on a normal week average, I don't know how many offensive possessions the Eagles normally get, but let's just call the number. What's a good number? 9? Is 9 a good?
Widely varies.
Yeah.
Like with the way they're inconsistent.
But like a normal football
9,
game,
10,
like with a fine tempo, let's just say 9 or 10 possessions, right? Now let's say that gets shrunk to like 7 possessions today because they're running the ball. Now that's even less chances for an already struggling offense to put together consistent drives in rhythm.
Yeah.
Not favorable, right?
Yeah,
this isn't an offense of the past where the less time you have, but hey, they can move the ball on the drop of a dime. They can go get you 7 if need. They're going to move methodically. We haven't seen that all year long for the most part.
Yeah.
Outside of small spurts.
It's a great point. It is key to shut down the run first, because if they're able to run the football, then the play action is going to be open. You're able to get George Kittle involved way easier. You're able to get
right, and that's
big
where Kyle Shanahan
receivers involved, right?
And that's where Shanahan gets to go in his bag of tricks and pull out a bunch of bullshit. And now we're scrambling and they're off script, and it's not a good look, man. So it is vitally important, understatement of the season, to say that the Eagles need to slow down Christian McCaffrey, because there's no stopping Christian McCaffrey, right? He's fucking Thanos. He's inevitable, right? Christian McCaffrey's going to come into the link and have over 100 total scrimmage yards. I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to gash him for 130 on the ground, but between the pass and on the ground, he's going to go for probably 120 plus.
Maybe. You see what they? Hey, and I'm not saying James Cook is CMC, but they contain James Cook very well.
That is a great point.
Leading rusher in NFL.
No, that's a fair point.
He gets involved though in the past.
It's a fair point by you, only because in the back of my mind, I'm going negative, and I keep thinking about the Bears game and watching our defense get gashed at home. But to your point, they also slowed down Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. They also slowed down James Cook. They also limited Josh Jacobs. So there's a lot of positives against the run this year as well.
Bears on a short week.
Yeah.
Short week.
Yeah. All right. Maybe I was going a little too negative there.
But you are right. He gets so many touches. There's a good chance he will get 100 total scrimmage yards or 120, but they can still lose games with him.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. The way that the Eagles lose this game is if CMC and Brian Robinson get up in the 160 type of rushing yard type of day.
Yeah.
Right. The Bears went for what, like 2 something like that. I'm not talking even that high. This Niners offense goes out and gets 160, 175 plus rushing yards.
Yeah.
Different day at the office. However, no, I do not foresee that happening.
Look, if we're in the second half and they're still able to be unpredictable with their play calling, we're going to be in for a sweaty game. That's what it's going to come down to, man. And it's not to say, like, I do think one of the bigger points here is playing a complete game. Like we just said at the beginning of the show, you look at that Packers and Bears game last night, there is no point in this game where this game is over for sure. No. It doesn't matter how many possessions you're up. You need to go out and finish. But no, man, I'm with you. I'm with you.
With that said, bro, let's start on the defensive side of things.
Yeah.
Give me your standout star on defense. Who wrecks this game for the 49ers today?
Bro, it's funny. I think it was Martian that put him in the chat earlier, but yeah, Zach Bond is the big one for me. He's I imagine gonna have the main responsibility of checking George Kittle at times, maybe along with Coop. You can probably maybe bring Coop over and stick him on Kittle at times as well. But I think Bond will get a lot of work there. I think Bond is going to be involved heavily in Vic's game plan as far as blitzing, getting after Brock Purdy, putting him in the right spots at the right times. I could see him getting a sack today off a blitz. To Martian's point, he's just always in the right place at the right time, right? And so I do think with, Brock Purdy maybe favoring some of those interior routes or those in-crossing routes, I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Zach Bond to get an interception today as well, man. So I think he's just going to be all over the place today. Like I said, I think he's going to have big responsibilities within the defense, but he's also a playmaker. So I'll go Zach Bond in the middle there, man.
Yeah, man. I'm thinking about 2022 NFC Championship game against Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan, and I'm thinking about the newly acquired first year in Philadelphia, Hassan Reddick, right? That guy that kind of transformed and changed the defensive front for the Eagles and broke the team sack record and league sack record and all that stuff. And I'm thinking about the guy that Howie acquired in the middle of the season that kind of changed and transformed this defensive front. This was a defensive front that was worrisome. This was a defensive front, through 4 or 5 weeks, people were going, oh, they can't get back to the Super Bowl with this pass rush. Yeah. And, we're going out and we're signing Zadarius Smith and we're asking Brandon Graham to come out of retirement. It was a mess. And then all of a sudden, Howie hits the trade block and he goes and gets Jalen Phillips. And it started out hot. Jalen Phillips came over and was getting a lot of talk and he was making plays and he was always in the backfield. It's turned into, with his presence and everyone else stepping up, and you mentioned Moro Ojomo and Jalix Hunt and Brandon Graham's even look revived, right? Yeah. Where Jalen Phillips has still been a stud, but it's gone a little bit under the radar, right? His name's not being talked about, thrown out there, all this stuff. I think Jalen Phillips wrecks the game a little bit today. I think Jalen Phillips gets to Brock Purdy. Maybe he hits the arm, doesn't hurt him like what happened with in 2022, but hits the arm and a ball gets deflected and it gets picked. Kind of Chris Long versus Case Keenum in the NFC Championship for the Patrick Robinson pick six. I think Jalen Phillips is in the backfield often today.
I do like that, man. I'm wondering, is Trent usually on the left or is he on the right?
Trent's on the left. Yes, Trent's by Lada.
Okay, gotcha. So usually Phillips is on. If you're offensive facing, he's on the right side, right?
Yes.
Okay. I was just wondering who his matchup might be, but I do agree with you, man. I think that's a great pick because this is a guy that's going to be highly motivated as well. I think another thing we often forget with this team, is specifically going into this offseason, is that these guys are competing for spots on this roster, right? If you want to stay with this Super Bowl contending core, you're going to have to go out and ball out.
Forget about wanting to stay with the core, man. Maybe that's some guy's motivation. Or if you're a Moro Ojomo or Jayla, you're looking to get paid, and you're looking at what Josh Sweat and Milton Williams got rewarded for stepping up in the postseason last year. It's time to show up or show out. It's a great point by Martian. I mean, we haven't even discussed number 98 all day long, and you can make the argument he's the best player on the football field. That's at any given moment. So another guy that missed multiple games this year where it kind of just we just passed it by, right? Oh, Jalen Carter's not in, that sucks. But we held the Eagles team to the same standard as if he was playing. You get guys like him and Lane Johnson back in the every week lineup, and things change drastically. I think this defensive line puts on a little bit of a show, man. Like, there's so many guys now. We haven't even mentioned Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith is now the Eagles' all-time leader for sacks in a single postseason from last season. So this is another year for Nolan to come off the edge.
Yeah, no, I think that's spot on. Jalen Carter, I think that's a great comment, though, just to kind of remind everyone. It's a good point.
Right.
Because like you said, he can be the best player on the football field at any given point, right, when he's really at the top of his game. And I think he's going to wreak havoc in the middle today. Vic, he moves these guys all around, though. So you might see him in the middle. You might see him out on the edge at times, man, with his hand in the ground. He does a lot of stuff. Shit, he might block a punt. He might block a kick today for all we know, because he's been doing that regularly. Like, he's a freak. And he almost is kind of like what D-Rad was saying. He is kind of a mulligan at this point. Like, he's going to wreak havoc today for sure. But
I'm excited to see what this defense does, man. And maybe I'm just I'm too overconfident, but that's the one side of the ball that really hasn't wavered, right? I went back to that Bears game earlier in the show, and that's a moment, right? You have, you can argue what side of the ball was the major problem in Dallas when we blew a 21-0 lead. There's moments where the defense has had a letdown this season, but for the most part, 90+% of the time, this is the unit that consistently thrives and shows up. Go back to the NFC Chip last year against Washington. Bond punching the ball out. Bond punching the ball out. Bond punching the ball out over and over and over again. They fly around. To Martian's point, we didn't even talk about Nakobe Dean. There's just so much talent defensively, so many guys to be thrown your way, and I think it's a little overwhelming for San Fran today.
I do agree, man, because you mentioned the defensive performances this year, and I just look back to some of those like marquee matchups
Mm-hmm.
and the defense just like holding the Bills to what 12 points or some shit, like holding the Packers to 7 points, holding the Lions to 9 or 10
Yeah.
points, whatever it was. It's just like in the biggest moments when these narratives come in, this defense steps up and makes the call. I did want to ask you just real quick. We mentioned the all-pro corners in the secondary. How are you feeling about the secondary just in general going into this matchup, just to kind of round out the defense a little?
Yeah, so into this matchup specifically, I'm confident in that secondary regardless, no matter who's on the other side of the field, right?
Yeah.
But this matchup is like, yeah, obviously San Fran's offense is their strength.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the guys on the outside. There's look at me. Look in these eyes right now. There is this much amount of fear when it comes to Jawan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall and DeMarcus Robinson and whoever the fuck else they have on the outside. It's the guy over the middle in 85, and it's the guy coming out of the backfield. So when it comes to this Eagles secondary, it's obviously this Niners offense has moved the ball well all season long, right? Averaging almost 26 points a game, even with all these injuries. You ain't played this defense, brother.
Yeah.
The same defense you just mentioned, same defense in the biggest moments that step up and shut down Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams and Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Same offense that shuts down Josh Jacobs and Christian Watson and Romeo Dobbs. Same.
Yeah.
I ain't scared of who's on the outside.
No, I feel you, man. I really do. Even Marcus Epps has stepped in for Andrew Makubo. He obviously went to IR. Marcus Epps steps in, been seamless, right? So I'm very confident in what we got secondary.
It's a funny kind of point about Marshall. I'm not even making fun of it. It seems so simple, right? Like you would think, okay, well, the Eagles score in 15 minutes. Can the Eagles offense score a touchdown? They should, right? The problem with that is, well, then they'd be averaging over 28 points a game.
Right.
Which it seems so. I agree. Like they should score a touchdown.
They should
every 15 minutes. Ain't happening. So
I do feel you, Marsha. I really
agree.
need the offense. Like all jokes aside, I really need the offense to go out and perform today.
Correct,
there's
because
no reason not
to Martian's point, all that matters is a win. We all know this, right? If they win 14-13, if they win 7-6, it doesn't matter. But let's be honest with ourselves. We come on here on Victory Monday tomorrow. We're excited. We're moving on. We're going to Chicago to play the Bears in the division round. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
You feeling any closer to a Super Bowl? Or are you feeling further away from a Lombardi?
Not if that offense isn't performing, right?
Correct.
No.
Correct.
Because if you can't do it against this defense, how are you going to do it against the likes of a Seattle down the road or a Houston or a Denver in the Super Bowl, right? Like, it's not going to happen. So you need to start performing now. This is I'm trying to tread lightly. I'm not trying to disrespect. I talked to Terry about this offline as well. So she understands. She knows the 49ers are banged up.
Yeah. I'm not saying it to be nasty.
Of the lows of defensive rankings. You need to go out there. This should be like a warm-up game for the playoffs. You should be able to go out there and get a feel for the postseason and get your offense really going, man. So come on, man. Don't beat yourself today.
1,000% agree with you, Martian. I'm going to be as happy as anyone else. My point kind of is
absolutely.
Like, you move on, you advance, you're climbing the mountain. So you're a few steps closer than you were today, this morning of going back to back. But how are we feeling?
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, man, like not even just going against great defenses in the postseason. What happens when you do have to get into a shootout, right? Like, what if you play the Rams in the NFC Championship and and the Rams? I'm telling you right now, I'm not saying they're going to, but I'm just telling that this was the game script. The Eagles blank, Rams 29. You feeling like the Eagles are going to score 30 or more in that scenario? I have to see I need something today. I agree with you. So with that said, who's doing it?
Yeah, man. I know I mentioned Dallas Goedert earlier, but I got his jersey on. It's AJ Brown, man. It's wide receiver 1.
All right.
We've been seeing wide receivers go off the whole day yesterday. There was quite a few that went off yesterday, right? AJ Brown needs to go out there, not that he doesn't have his name up there, but go out there and show them who you are, my man. And apparently, during this off week while they've been getting ready for this game, he has been trying to set the vibes, get the vibe just up, positivity in the locker room going into this matchup. So I think his head is in the right space, and I think this offense is going to be ready to go. And I do expect him to make a big play today, man. I'm expecting a big play touchdown, right? Yeah. I'm expecting something over 40 yards. As much as San Fran likes that bend but don't break, I do think we're going to have success running the football as well, which is going to force them to kind of come in that box a bit and open it up a little bit. So I do like him to make a big play today, and I like him to be heavily involved.
I won't make a joke. It's very inappropriate. Terry's watching. It's very inappropriate. Hold on. Give me a second. All right, I'm back. It's Saquon Barkley. I think over the course of this year, with how bad Capitolo's been, with how bad this offense has been, we've seen Jalen have a 5-turnover game and an overtime loss. Yeah. AJ's been in the media and been in the headlines and been negative. Through all the bad, we've kind of forgotten exactly who the fuck number 26 is. You talked about Lane being back earlier. Oh, well, the pass game. It's going to help the hell out of the rushing attack as well. Now, Cam Jurgens cannot just whiff on blocks once the ball snaps. Jordan Mailata cannot just fall down every 3 plays. Okay, so those things need to get cleaned up. But what Saquon Barkley did, not only throughout the 2,000-plus yards in the regular season last year, but all of the moments in the postseason, Saquon Barkley himself has a highlight reel of playoff moments, of playoff runs, of playoff touchdowns that would last most guys a lifetime. He did it in 3 games last year.
Yeah.
Talk about a guy that I feel like is his best when the lights are brightest. I think he does it again today. I think Saquon breaks a big run. Now, maybe it doesn't go to the house. But if you put me on DraftKings right now, and DraftKings Saquon Barkley longest run, over under, I would put the line at 40.5. I think he breaks a 40, 45, 50-plus run today.
Yeah, I feel that, man. Offensive line should come out boosted. You get Lane Johnson back. Even if it's just psychological. That's all that matters, man.
You know what else I love? You know what else I love? I didn't mean to click out of this to Martian's point, because it should be so simple. I agree with you, and I feel bad because I actually like the kid. We're just assuming it's Saquon and Tank. And in reality, you're about to get a full dose of Will Shipley as RB2 today. I just feel like that's the reality of it. We're all very aware that Tank Bigsby is the second best running back on this team. We're all very aware that good things happen when Tank Bigsby gets the ball more than 2 times in a game since he's been acquired as an Eagle. Tank Bigsby's a starter in this league for a lot of teams. And for some reason, number 28 gets more playing time.
That can't happen. Yeah, that can't happen. Right? Like, is that why he was benched against Washington? So he could be ready for the playoff matchup. That's why Tank got all the carries against Washington.
Yep. We'll see.
That can't happen, man.
Let me tell you.
That's the shit that can't happen. That's the malpractice that can't happen.
Let me tell you why I can see it, right? Because I think it's role defined. And I think that's where Kevin gets so predictable. Tank got all the carries last week because Tank was slotted into RB1 in Saquon's absence. So Will stays in the role, right? Right. Saquon's RB1 today. We go back to being predictable. Will Shipley comes in on a 3rd and 16 when we want to hand the ball off. Will Shipley comes in when we want to throw the ball and it's a passing down. Yeah. And it can't happen. I agree with you. It cannot happen.
You can't make it easy on the San Fran defense, right? That's how you lose. You make it easy on a bad defense. So you shouldn't be possible.
Mind you, this is the same team that in 2023, when we were in the midst of a collapse, what did Christian McCaffrey say about the Eagles offense 2 years ago under Nick Sirianni? They knew what they were running in what formations because they're so predictable. Same team, brother. Obviously different players, Salah's back, different DC than, but same organizations coming to your house today.
That's
you cannot stay predictable.
Yeah, exactly. That's the type of disrespect or lack of respect that they're coming in with. Maybe not now, like to your
Right.
point, things have changed, but just come out. That's what I want today. I want the Eagles to go out there, even if they haven't been disrespected, which they have. Go out there and play like you've been disrespected because you have all season, man. Everybody's been doubting them, and the offense has struggled, rightfully so, right? So go out there, prove you are still of that caliber, which I know they are, man. And don't cause your defense to bail you out. Let's have an even
Yeah.
balanced offensive and defensive output
So,
today.
right, to wrap this up, let's get into predictions in a minute. But the irony's coming full circle for me because what was one of my keys when talking about covering San Francisco? Why was it important to stop CMC? Because we need more possessions in the game. They can't shrink the game down because that's less opportunities for a struggling offense. Vice versa, other side of things, the Eagles' offense cannot elongate the game, stretch out the game. What do I mean by that? I don't mean because they keep scoring and we have so many possessions so quickly. I mean the 3 and outs and the 3 and outs and the 3 and outs and the 3 and outs, where we have 7 possessions in the first half with 3 total points because we can't move the ball and the defense is right back on the field. To your point. So
can't happen.
We need a nice sweet spot right in the middle of this possession game, clock management game that we're talking about, right? Because all year long, what do we hear about Jalen, right? About protecting the ball, right? He doesn't turn the ball over. It's basically a fucking turnover when your defense is on the field every minute and a half, guys.
Yeah.
So that goes out the door. That goes out the window, the no turnover thing, when you just continue to punt and put your team in harm's way.
I feel that. I do feel that. I think long term they have to get a little bit more unpredictable, but to that point, just come out and execute today.
I think what he's alluding to in the beginning there is like predictable in the sense of like old school smash mouth, what we did last year, where line that shit up like Martian loves to say. We know that, like, we're about to run the ball at you, and you can't do anything about it. They can be predictable in that sense and still win and still move the ball. Predictable that we're talking about, I think, is a little more like it's in the pass game. It's in the pass game for me. Like on a 2nd and 8 because who checks into the game and these 2 tight ends come in or whatever. What's coming? And like I get it. Like I just said, we're about to run the ball at you, but I mean it in a different way. Like we're having success, so we're about to do it again, and you can't stop it. That's like, 1st and 10, stuffed at the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 10, what's coming next. That's the shit that can't happen today.
Yeah, no.
So with that said, man, trip to the divisional round on the line here. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm going with the Eagles.
I think, really?
Yeah, of course. Come on. It's always go Birds. But I think, you look at this game today, we've hit all the points throughout the show. Decent play calling offensively today, I think, gets you the job done. I don't think Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni, I don't think they have to come out and be wizards today or geniuses or be completely unpredictable to what we were just talking about. But just come out and be decent today, guys. Don't have us scratching or ripping our hair out, right?
Yeah.
I think they can turn Brock Purdy over today. I think that's going to be a big factor. I do think we're going to get pressure on him and cause some havoc back there, whether it's fumble, interception. The big thing, obviously, is, obviously you want to have a fast start. You don't want to give them confidence early. You also got to finish strong. As you can see yesterday, the game won't be over at any point. I got the Eagles winning 27-13 in this one. I do think Niners, they'll get in the end zone one time. I think they'll get a couple field goals. And overall, I think they will struggle today offensively. And then on the other side, I think the Eagles will show enough signs, right? 27 points isn't, something to go out and, celebrate and get balloons and have shots for. But 27 points is a growing step, right? And that's what I'm looking for today from the offense. And I think we get it, man, to your point.
Yeah, no, as if there was any question. Eagles are going to win this football game. I'm a little weary of not just how confident I am. I'm a little weary in how confident I am that towards the end of the 4th quarter, the gap that will be there. I think the Eagles win this game by double digits. And I don't mean double digits in the sense of like, 18. I think they win this game by like 10 to 13 points at some point. And maybe it starts out ugly, right? That Commanders game that sealed the division when Jake's missing field goals and extra, and can't hit anything. And then the second half comes out and we're moving. It's annoying. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why it's so Jekyll and Hyde. But I think by the end of the game, when that final whistle goes off, I think the Eagles win like 27-16 or 28-17 or somewhere in there.
I like it. We're in just about the same spot there. 27, 28 points. Should get the job done. I don't see the 49ers scoring over 20 points today. No. I don't see it. So,
and even if they do, it's going to be in the low 20s, like 21, 23, garbage time touchdown maybe. So, no, I agree. All right, couple hours, man. Let me ask you before we get off here. Martian, anyone else got a pick for the 1 o'clock game? What do you like? Jags, Bills about to kick off in a minute. You like the over? Do you like a team in this one?
I'm going Duval, man. I just weird feeling this season with the Jags and the Bills. I know there's a ton of pressure on them, pressure on Josh Allen, of course, but I just think the Jags defense will get after Allen today. I think they'll do enough, and I think the Jags offense will put up some points today. I also like Trevor Lawrence tutty. I think he has like 12 rushing tutties this season, and he's like plus 190 or 170. So I did lay that. But I don't mind the over. I think some points will be scored, but yeah, I do like the Jags. I know earlier this week you said you like the Bills, so I didn't want to come in and scream Duval or anything. That'd be a little weird. But Martian's got the Bills winning. Bills, no doubt about it. You're a Buffalo Soldier. Okay, Martian, I wasn't hip. Part of the Bills Mafia today.
My bad. I was trying to get this in real quick. I'm not ignoring you guys.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I know. I'm tired of you guys. All right, let's have some fun today. It's for Wildcard Weekend. I will say there's 2 games last night set up a very exciting rest of the weekend, and we hope for a good finish. Yeah. He's going 35-31. Mommy Scotty's got Trevor going for 4 tutties. We might have a battle on our hands. Let's go enjoy it, guys. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at DSM_media. And then, of course, on the YouTube channel, the link's in our bio. Make sure to subscribe. For myself, for Scotty, for DSM, go Birds, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Peace out.
Peace, everybody.